Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is, she's a sideshow. And I believe the people who are in the Democratic Party, they know that. She is, she's just a hired gun. That's all she is. They wind her up, and she goes out and she, bangs the cymbals together. I know what that's like, to be somebody who is viewed as effective and could go out and just bang cymbals together like those little wind-up monkeys. But it takes intelligence and courage to not be one of those wind-up monkeys and be in the service of a group that is using you. Cortez, for everything we ever heard about Sarah Palin, on how stupid she was, I have not heard that about Ocasio-Cortez from anybody in the mainstream media. And she's at the point to where I think we should discuss having her obtain a license to be able to walk around with this much stupidity, because she is becoming extraordinarily dangerous to the truth. The problem is that, if we don't talk about the truth, you lose your ability to be able to find the truth, to decipher the truth, to recognize the truth. And I don't think she's that. I think she just is so filled with her own self and surrounded by people who always agree with her that she doesn't realize just how stupid she is. And I say this with a guy, I'm a guy who has deep personal experience with stupidity. When I was 30, I realized I knew nothing. And I tried to figure out what I really believed. Then September 11th happened, and I knew nothing. And then Obama was elected, and I knew nothing. And I worked hard to understand what was happening. And then Trump ran, and I realized I know nothing. And I worked really hard to understand what was going on. To be a citizen, to be somebody who is not a detriment, that's hard work. It's hard work. Yesterday, she said what's going on our border is a concentration camp. I'll play the audio if we have to later. She said Donald Trump has built concentration camps. Boy, I'm trying not to be demeaning here and talk down to her. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, do some homework. Do your own homework here. That's wildly insulting. It's insulting, and I'll get to this in a minute. It's insulting to Jews. It's insulting to anyone who had anyone in a concentration camp or knows what a concentration camp is. Let's look into China and what's happening in the concentration camps with Muslims today in China. Let's look at the concentration camps in North Korea. See, here's what a concentration camp doesn't do. It doesn't release you into society where you can build a better life. A concentration camp usually ends in your death. People didn't volunteer to get on the train. There weren't people who were like, oh, this train's headed towards Auschwitz. Yeah, it's a death train. Just like in Mexico, they call it the death train. Yeah, it's a death train. I'm going to just ride on top. I got to get on that train. Nobody was doing that. Everybody was trying to get off that train. They knew what that train meant. People now are clamoring to what we now call a death train because it is so dangerous. So many people fall off. So many people are killed on that train just trying to get to what? Our concentration camp? Boy, whoa, are we evil? We are so evil, we don't even have to have a plan to exterminate a race. We don't even have to have a plan to round people up. We don't need technology. We need no money. They're lining up to come into our ovens. How insulting is this? A 10-year-old who watches a mother smother her own child just to stop it from crying so they're not discovered. That's not what's happening on our border. In fact, children are being used. Children are being bought and sold. So they will be found, and they can go into our concentration camps, and they will be released, and they'll be released into a country that people are lining up to get into. If we suck so much, how come everyone from all around the world is trying to come here? Quite frankly, I'd like to have more of them and less of people like you. Go to another country. Now, I know that's not right to say because we all have to do our thing to make this a better country, and we all have a right to be here, and I hate it when people say, you don't like it, then leave it. I don't like that. But quite honestly, I'm sick and tired of always being torn down. And for the truth to be so distorted, you are either a moron and there's nothing that can be done, or something seriously wrong with you and your priorities. You went to Boston U. You're not a dummy. How is it you can be this stupid on something so important? A concentration camp is in North Korea. A concentration camp is currently going on in China. It's not happening on our border. And if you really cared, you would have been down there with me at the border when Obama was putting people in cages. And I begged for anybody to pay attention. You're only doing this because your puppet masters are telling you what to say. It is so clear you haven't thought anything through. Yep, okay, I'll say that. Yep. Just don't ask me any questions because I can't go into any depth at all on this. There comes a time when people have to say enough is enough. Enough is enough. I mean, we can laugh at stupid people. We can feel sad for stupid people. But when stupid people, who are not really stupid, they're just living in self-imposed ignorance so they can get a job away from a bar and then start wearing $5,000 clothes and live in apartments in a lifestyle that they would have never dreamt just because they're attractive, they know how to cause a crowd, and they can just come on out and say anything. When we're at this point in history, concentration camps will come back. They will come back. They're not happening at the border, but they will come back if this kind of self-imposed ignorance continues to grow in our country.